Welcome back to Grim Scenarios. We're on our third in our sequence of episodes about playing and dealing with new characters.
Yeah, so this week we're going to look at a character that TPI just released, the Kazali, which is a very interesting new demon that has a pretty unique mechanic, I think. Emma?
Yeah, the Kazali's ability is each night asterisk, choose a player, they die. So far, so familiar. You'll recognize that exact wording on the Imp, the Vigor Mortis, the Nodashi, the Vortox, the Fengu. It's the basic demon command. Where the Kazali gets different is after it gets the basic demon command, it goes square brackets. That indicates a setup ability. You choose which players are which minions. Minus question mark to plus question mark outsiders. And square brackets.
There's a lot to parse there. There's a whole lot to go through with the Kazali. There's a bunch of different elements there. We have seen outsider manipulating demons previously. We've got the Fengu and the Vigor Mortis primarily that manipulate outsider counts. So setup brackets aren't brand new entirely, but these setup brackets are pretty different because they not only adjust the outsider count by whatever the storyteller chooses, they also allow the Kazali to select their own minion players and what minions are going to be in play.
Yeah. Now that outsider count being adjusted by whatever the storyteller chooses means that you're not going to be able to get a firm idea of are these players good because there's exactly X number of outsider claims, which means that for example, in a Vigor Mortis game on this script, the outsiders are Mutant, Barber, Politician, and Puzzle Master. If the mutant breaks madness on day one, gets executed, no one else is claiming Barber, Politician, or Puzzle Master, without the Kazali's existence, you'd just be like, oh, this is an obvious Vigor Mortis game. Well, maybe not with the Politician because they might be lying, but still, you'd be like, this is an obvious Vigor Mortis game. We've solved demon type because there's only one outsider, and the Kazali sort of throws that all out the window. Suddenly, whatever outsider count you have, if there's no claimed outsiders, that could be a Vigor Mortis with a politician who's hiding, or a mutant who's hiding, or it could be a Kazali game where all the outsiders are gone. They've turned into minions. It makes it, outsider count is one of those things that the game teaches you to make such a part of your solve, and the Kazali makes much harder to do because it's variable. But at the same time, that means the variability of the outsider count is a indication of a Kazali game.
Yeah, and I think the Kazali, in some ways, needs that outsider manipulation, partly because it's going to remove two roles from the town. So the Kazali's ability to select its own minions, it's going to replace their token with minion tokens, which means what the storyteller puts in the bag is going to be pretty heavily altered. So the Kazali could pick an outsider as one of their minions, and that reduces the outsider count from even what the storyteller set it as. So it's extremely variable in the realm of playing against a Kazali and trying to solve that out.
Mm-hmm. Well, here with our first scenario, Milk is going to be playing against a Kazali, maybe. Or maybe he's playing against Little Monster. Or maybe Vigor Mortis. He doesn't know. I do. He doesn't. He only knows he's the Shugenja.
I'm the Shugenja. Ooh, I'll make myself the Shugenja. We haven't talked about Shugenja before.
We haven't, which makes it a nice dovetail. Yeah, so Milk, you get woken up on night one, as a Shugenja is wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
And just pointed in a clockwise direction. There's no you turn into the harpy for you to deal with here.
Right. Okay, so I get clockwise. Why don't we go out to the Grim and see what we can do? So let's go ahead and just put in a custom note here that says clockwise. So the Shugenja's ability is very interesting. There are a few things to be aware of with it. The first, of course, is that you get a direction, but not a distance, right? So clockwise could mean, a player in seat 2 and the players in seat 1, 12, and 11 are all good, but the other evils are in seat 3 and 4, right? That's entirely possible. Unlikely, but possible. The other thing that's important to be aware of is that if evils are equidistant from you, the information becomes arbitrary. That is to say, if
Mm-hmm.
the player in seat 8 and the player in seat 12 are both evil, then the storyteller can give me clockwise or counterclockwise, anti-clockwise for our British friends.
Yep, they are more than welcome to. On the token, it says anti-clockwise because that's fewer letters than counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm.
So, for you Americans out there, you're going to have to learn about the term anti-clockwise, just like I did.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's see what we can do here.
The script also has a few other things that could mess with your Shugenja information. Your closest evil could be a spy, of course, who's registering as good to you. You could be poisoned, or you could be puzzle drunk,
That's
or
true.
technically, you could be the marionette.
All of those things are possible.
All right, Milk. So, you wake up on day one, you have your Shugenja clockwise, you have your Shugenja clockwise. Let me ask you, what do you think this tells you about the demon type and where the demon might be?
Interesting. Well, it's hard to say starting out, right? Because the Kazali is picking blind. They don't know that I'm the Shigenja, so they're not going to know where to pick around me.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to kind of start out probably assuming that close players to us in the anti-clockwise direction are more likely to be good. So we're going to imagine that somewhere in the clockwise direction is an evil, and if it's close to me, that suggests that the other evils would maybe be further on the other side of the circle. So, for example, if the player in seat 12 is evil, then I know that probably the players in seat 8 and 9 are good, and then 7, 6, 5, 4 would be, or further on the clockwise side would be where the other evils are.
Okay. Good thought process. Good thought process.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna let you talk to whoever you want.
So I think I'm going to start with the player in seat 9.
The player in seat 9.
Hmm?
Player in seat 9. All right, you go and talk to them.
Hello. So I am just going to trust you because I am the Shigenja and I have a clockwise.
They go, well, that's great, because I'm the steward with a ping on you. So we're simpatico.
Very interesting. You're the steward with a ping on me, and I'm the Shigenja with a clockwise. That works out very well. So that means that the evil team must be maybe seat 12 or 1 or 2.
They go, yeah, I think 11 is a likely evil candidate too, plus a 12, I guess, and possibly 1.
Well, 11
one
would
of those
be
3 for certain.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, 11. If 11's evil, then you could also be evil, right? To me, because it could be arbitrary.
Yeah, but
of course, you're the steward confirming me.
Yeah, I am the steward confirming you, and we have to consider the worlds where seat 11 is evil.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds pretty good to me.
All right. Who do you want to talk to next, Milk?
Let's talk to seat 11.
Seat 11 goes, hey, Milk, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on there?
They go, not much. I'm just going to be upfront with you. I'm the politician. I'm telling you this so that if you're evil, you know not to kill me.
Well, I'm not evil. I'm the Shigenja. And there's evils out there somewhere. Not going to give my direction right now.
Ooh, yeah. What direction is your evils in?
Yeah, I don't think I want to give out my direction to the politician because that'll help you find the evil team and help you try to make my team lose.
They go, yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying not to die. I'm trying to get the evils to protect me.
Gotcha. Well, good luck with that.
I'm gonna play for good, I promise. I'm playing for good.
Of course you are.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Of course I might trust you later when the good team is clearly winning, but at the moment, I don't think I'm ready for that trust fall yet.
They go, great.
Right.
All right.
I am concerned. These two players do not seem trustworthy.
I don't know what you mean.
Interesting. All right. Let's go to the opposite side of the Grim and talk to seat 4.
Seat 4 goes, hey, Milk, how's it going?
Hey, seat 4. I've had some interesting conversations today. Not sure how I feel about them, but yeah.
They go, what can I help you with this game? My friend.
I was
My
wondering.
good friend, Milk.
Yes, I was wondering, my good friend seat 4, if you wanted to exchange information. I have starting information that I'm
They
willing to
go,
share.
yeah, I have no information. I'm the monk.
Okay.
Just gonna play monk up front. I've heard that it's a pretty expendable role, and you're just if you have to die, you die. So I see no reason to lie about it.
You're absorbing a kill that could go on an information roll, so at least you're doing something good.
Yeah. Should I protect you? Are you an information role I could protect?
I'm the Shigenja, and I have a clockwise.
They go, yeah, that makes sense.
But I got
clockwise.
But I got super sus vibes off of both of my neighbors, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
They go, interesting. I haven't talked to your neighbors yet, but I'm sure we should kill one of them. Probably the clockwise one. Maybe just the other one is just being weird.
Yeah, I think you might be right. We could kill the clockwise one. We could kill seat 12. Also, if the seat 11 was telling me the truth, then seat 12 would be probably a good kill as well.
They go, yeah, we could absolutely kill seat 12.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. I strangely feel like I have talked to the entire evil team.
Wild,
Yeah.
Wild Milk.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do we have one more, or is that it?
You can have one more talk today.
Let's go to seat 12.
Seat 12 goes, hey, Milk, how's it going?
I am doing great, seat 12, but it's not a great day for you, I'm afraid.
They go, oh, well, why not?
Because I'm the Shugenja and I have a clockwise.
They go, well, we should probably just kill seat 11 then, right?
Well, I'm not sure.
Mathematically, they're pretty likely to be evil if you have a Shugenja clockwise.
It's possible, but it could really be anyone on the clockwise direction from me. You want to give me some information about you, maybe?
Oh, yeah. I'm the seamstress. I checked you in seat 9 last night and got a yes. So I'm all aboard the kill seat 11 train.
Checked me and seat 9. Interesting. All right. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, seat 11 claimed politician. So, yeah, not sure what's going on there.
Go. I wouldn't know. I'd get a yes on them too if they were the politician, I guess. But let's just kill them. We could kill them. If they're being weird, let's kill them.
Yep,
that'll teach them a lesson, right?
It's a possibility, for sure. All right. Good talk, seat 12.
All right.
Everybody's reading evil today.
It's nominations time. Look, do you have any nominations you'd like to make?
I'm gonna wait for a moment and see what other people do first.
Okay. Seat 11 nominates seat, let's say 2. Yeah, they nominate seat 2.
All right.
And go, seat 2 is lying. I'm not sure why, but we could kill them. Seat 2 goes, not lying, just your friendly neighborhood farmer, hoping to die in the night.
Okay. I'm not voting. I'm not voting.
Oh, you're not voting? Okay.
No. Oh, and we learned that it's an organ grinder.
Yeah, I'm actually going to run this, but we don't normally run votes on Grim scenarios because we have to manually decide who's voting. But,
well, that's awkward. So the Kazali created an organ grinder, eh? Interesting.
Or the Vigor Mortis already had one, or the Little Monster put one in play.
That's a good point.
So you don't know if seat 2 is on the block.
Interesting. I'll nominate seat 1.
Okay, what's your accusation on seat 1?
I'm the Shigenja. I have a clockwise. Seat 1 is in the clockwise direction from me. I talked to seat 12, and seat 12 seems trustworthy. I talked to seat 11. Not sure if they're trustworthy, so I'm thinking about going on seat 1.
Seat 1 goes, I think you'll find I'm the most trustworthy person here, Milk.
Okay.
Do you vote on this?
Is that their whole defense?
Yeah, it's their whole defense.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to vote on it.
They go, you don't know who else votes on it. The storyteller correctly fails to tell you the vote count.
Mm-hmm.
Seat 1 says, great. Then they nominate seat 5 and are executed and die.
Okay, well, that solves that problem.
So that was a virgin execution for those of you who weren't following along closely with what just happened.
Yep.
Seat 1 goes, I'm not going to say my role publicly in case there's an Undertaker, but I think it's we just have an evil between seat 11 and seat 12, or Milk. Like, one of those 3 players has to be evil, right?
Seems likely. Or the player in seat 2 is evil.
Okay, well, when you wake up, seat 7 is dead.
Interesting. All right. So normally at this point, I would let the Virgin know my information at some point during the day. We could just sort of take for granted that happens. I announce my information in town, so it's not like it's particularly secret.
All right.
Let's get in a couple more conversations. Let's try to catch up with seat 1.
Okay, you go and see seat 1. Seat 1 goes, hey, Milk.
Hey, seat 1. I guess I was wrong about where the evil is.
I thought between my information and your information, we had some pretty good triangulation. I was the High Priestess. I was shown seat 5, the Virgin, night 1. And I figured when you gave your Shigenja information, I sort of knew exactly what the storyteller wanted me to do. And I did it.
Hey, works for me. That makes perfect sense, I guess.
So I'm highly convinced that between seat 11 and seat 12, we probably have at least 1, if not 2, evils.
Could be. There's probably 1 in those 2. I kind of trust seat 12. Seat 12's information makes a lot of sense. So certainly 11.
Okay. Who do you want to talk to next?
Let's fill in some of these blanks. Let's get a chat with seat 7. Seat 7 might be willing to say their role because they're dead.
Yeah, seat 7 goes, hey, Milk.
Hey, so sorry you died in the night. Were you a big loss for town?
I was the barber.
Okay, so they may have moved stuff around. It's a little early.
Yeah.
I mean, barber dying early is not so bad. Maybe they didn't have anything particularly worth moving.
Mm-hmm.
If good doesn't
maybe
have
I don't know, but they killed me, so
yep,
is what it is.
Is what it is. All right, good, interesting. All right, thanks, seat 7. I'm the Shigenja. I have a clockwise, so you already knew that.
Okay.
Let's get seat 8 while we're at
it. Seat 8 goes, hey, Milk, how's it going?
Going great, seat 8. Shigenja clockwise, of course. You interested in sharing anything?
Yeah, Juggler 3. I juggled seat 9 as the steward. Seat 11 as the... well, I don't want to say what I juggled seat 11 as.
Okay.
Seat 6 as the town crier. And seat 2 as the monk.
Okay. And you got a 3 out of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Seat 2 and seat 4 could be in a role swap, I suppose. Seat 11, do you think seat 11 was correct?
Almost certainly.
Interesting. Okay. So that means 1 of 6 and 2 is a liar.
Oh yeah, but I think it's 2. Like 2, I didn't actually have a claim for. I just only had 3 real claims I wanted to juggle, so I just tossed them in.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Seat 11 gave me their real claim, but made me promise to be very subtle about my juggle and also not tell anyone if they confirmed them.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting and a little bit weird, but probably fine. Sounds good. All right. Thanks. It's helpful. Okay. Yeah. So let's just
One more talk.
yeah, let's fill in the grim and talk to seat 3. We think we know what seat 6 is possibly.
Seat 3 says, hey, Milk.
What's up, seat 3? I am Shigenja Clockwise.
The Slayer who's gonna shoot today.
Nice. And who are you going to shoot?
I haven't fully decided. I just can't, spies on script, little monsters on script. You can't trust the storyteller or the evil team's gonna let a Slayer make it to like day 3. That's a little wild, right?
Yeah, maybe. So might be able to hold another day. So no thoughts on who to shoot?
I was thinking of shooting either seat 8 or seat 12. They seemed like very good, strong shots for me.
Interesting. I don't think 12. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't think 12 is the demon, but maybe. Yeah. I'm kind of more leaning towards seat 4 as being evil, and maybe seat 2 as well. Not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck with that.
I'm leaning towards seat 12 pretty hardly. I'm gonna shoot them.
All right. Good luck with that.
Yep.
Nomination time.
Yeah. Nomination time. Who do you want to nominate?
I think I want to nominate. All right. Seat 8 says they think they got 11 correct, so that makes 2 the evil. I guess the town crier could be good. So this is what I'm thinking, right? The player in seat 1 is confirmed good. So that means
or the spy.
Or they're the spy, right? So that means that in theory, the 2 player, there's an evil theoretically in the 2 players here, or the evils are exactly these 3 players: seat 2, seat 3, and seat 4. And I don't know which ones they are, but I kind of want to break up the chunk over there of 2, 3, and 4 because I'm pretty sure there's an evil in that. So I'll nominate seat 2.
All right, Milk nominates seat 2. Seat 2 goes, I'm just the amnesiac. I don't know my ability. Don't worry about it. I'm just working on it. Please leave me alone to solve my ability.
All right. So one of the things about Kazali, the Kazali, is that the minions will already have a bluff from what they saw on their token before they changed. And that makes it much harder to detect minions in double claims and counterclaims and things.
Mm-hmm. Seat 3 claims Slayer and shoots seat 12. There's no effect.
Yeah, 12's probably not the demon.
2 nominates seat 4 and goes, I don't think I'm the best kill for town. I don't know. Got weird vibes from seat 4. Let's kill seat 4 instead of me. Seat 4 says, nah, I'm good. Just good. Doing good stuff. Leave me around.
I'm pretty much going to put my hand up on anybody far away from me at this point. Except for seat 5, obviously.
Seat 2 goes, hey, I don't know if that worked. I'm just your friendly mutant. Just mutanting over here. The storyteller ignores them.
All right. Yeah, not much else to do.
Seat 4 nominates seat 12 and goes, seat 12 was a little weird with me. And I have a theory that I kind of want to test. I'd appreciate it if everyone voted here. Seat 12 goes, not sure what I was weird about. I told you my true role, seamstress, and my true information. Which is, of course, yes, on 2 players. They're on the same team.
Interesting. What do we do? Raise our hand here? That could be an evil. We'll let it go.
Okay. At the end of the day, the storyteller goes, seat 2 is executed and dies.
Yeah, rough. We don't really know what caused that.
Well, the end of the day caused him milk.
Well, but we don't know if it was because of the mutant claim or because of the vote.
So what are you thinking at this point in the game?
This is a pretty tricky one, and the information is hard to put together. But seat 8 is backing up 11, 9, and 6. 9 confirming me is interesting, but possible. It's confirming the Shugenja information makes some sense. 9 being juggled correctly, along with, I assume, 6 is the town crier, and whatever 11 is, suggests that the evils are probably in 12, 3, and 4 would be my guess. So yeah, I think probably 12, 3, and 4 is the evil team. 1 could be evil. I could swap 1 for 12. 1 of 1 and 12. 1 of 11 and 12, I think, is evil, and then 3 and 4, I think, are the other evils.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that night,
Yeah.
seat 8 dies.
Yeah, that just makes me think I'm pretty close to correct. There is a possibility that 11 and 9 are both evil, and then the other evil is somewhere on the other side. Could be anywhere, but yeah, I think it's probably 11 or 12. I think it's 11 or 12, and then 3 and 4.
Well, we've been going for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What type of demon do you think you're facing?
I think it's not Vigor Mortis. Yeah. If it's Vigor, then seat 7 is probably a Vigor killed poisoner, claiming Barber. I think it's Kazali with the 3. The three outsider claims would point to Kazali. But I think seat 11 is lying. So, I think it might be Lil Monster. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably wrong, but yeah, I think Kazali makes sense. But yeah.
Well, you can't just say that and then switch to
No,
Kazali.
I'm sticking with Lil Monster. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Evil won, because it's a Kazali game.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go.
You were the Soshugenja, sober and healthy. You were sat next to the farmer in seat 11, who was just trying something new to try to attract a night kill. Maybe it worked for them, maybe it didn't, but sometimes people just try something new. Seat 1 was, in fact, your high priestess, who was shown seat 5, your virgin. Seat 6 was your town crier, who, if you had talked to, you would have learned got a no, which was a key hint and also something subtle evil had done to their advantage. Seat 7 was, in fact, your barber. Seat 8 was your juggler, who confirmed seat 11, 9, and 6. Seat 3 was your politician, not your slayer, who was trying to force the town to waste a lot of time executing seat 12, who they knew to be the organ grinder.
Mm-hmm.
Seat 2 was, of course, your mutant. Seat 4 is currently your spy, but they started the game as your Kazali, and then switched that with the barber swap, so that the town crier would get the no on the spy.
Yep.
Which would confirm, and the juggler would get the correct on the spy, and the Shugenja would confirm the spy, all while moving the Kazali into this nice safe seat.
Yep. This is a very safe seat to end up in. Yeah, that's pretty good.
As the game continued, you may have realized there was something weird about this incredibly confirmed Seat 9 who just wasn't dying.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we might have figured it out. Don't know. Yeah, but obviously, Shugenja is looking. I mean, I got 2 of the evils and 12 and 4.
And you got that there was something weird going on with outsider count, which is important to identify in a Kazali game. There seemed to be a bunch of them.
Yeah, I thought one of the outsiders was just lying. I thought Seat 11 was probably just lying and there wasn't a politician. But of course, the politician can just not claim their role. They can just be very hidden. So
yeah, and that was Seat 3's plan. Seat 3's plan was to try to force Town to waste a lot of time executing Seat 12 by who was going to suspiciously not die in the night, allowing the Kazali the time to get rid of the pesky confirmed players like the Virgin and the Juggler and the Town Crier while avoiding the Farmer.
Yeah,
who they hoped your Shugenja information would ultimately deal with. But you were right that all 3 of those 4 conversations on day 1 were suspicious.
I talked to the entire evil team on day 1. That was
and
wild.
And the farmer who was lying.
And the farmer who was lying, pretending to be the politician. Yeah. Caught a little bit of it. Didn't quite get there, but that wasn't too bad. Not too bad. I'm happy with that. I'm happy I found the organ grinder and the spy.
Yes.
Demon might have got away.
The Kazali. The starting Kazali.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to switch seats. All right, welcome back to part 2, our Kazali perspective.
Yeah, we're going to start with Emma as the Kazali, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to run a full scenario because once the beginning of the game is over, the Kazali just has a generic demon ability. It just kills every night. So we're going to look at some different strategies and different ways of making decisions about what to do as the Kazali, what minions to select and how to select them. Now, one of the things that we don't necessarily have here is all of the different, players that would be in a regular game. Our players are just generic seats. They're just, generic people. They sometimes have some personality, but generally speaking, they're not actual players.
Sometimes they're loosely based on real players.
That's right. Sometimes they're loosely based on real players.
But of course, not to the degree where we're making fun of anyone or any resemblances are purely coincidental, except for the part where I just said they're loosely based on real players.
That's right. Entirely intentional.
All right. So
let's talk through the Kazali a little bit, just in terms of what it does and what it can do.
Yeah. So one thing that you have to consider is how much your fellow players will meta the things you do. Because I can tell you, me as a Kazali, seeing this minion suite, there are 2 minions who I really, really want, and 3 minions I don't particularly care about. And I'll let Milk, and to test how much of a risk this is, I'll let Milk tell me whether he knows what 2 minions I want to put in play.
The Poisoner almost certainly wants to go into play. It's quite powerful. It's a strong minion that can be very effective. It might be less effective in a Kazali game because of the random number of outsiders and not wanting to poison outsiders. So that's possible. Spy is definitely going in. Spy gives a huge advantage against a lot of different roles. So Spy is probably the most beneficial. So I would probably go Poisoner and Spy. You might go Spy Organ Grinder.
All right. Good news, friends. Until this episode airs, my secrets are safe. I'm not taking Poisoner or Spy. I don't want either of those guys. I especially don't want Spy. I want what I think are unambiguously the 2 most powerful minions on this script. Organ Grinder and Marionette.
Sure.
What?
So why choose? Let's talk about that. Since we seem to disagree on this. Why take Organ Grinder and Marionette?
All right. So Organ Grinder's power of confusing voting is just so strong still. Like, part of it is that people aren't using it that much still, and they're not quite familiar enough with the mechanics of how you have to approach an organ grinder vote versus a non-organ grinder vote, and how you have to talk more about the voting process and talk more about who's voting and try to figure out who's lying about how they're voting. But even with all that, like the organ grinder sapping town of their ability to see the votes, it's sapping town of their ability to. It grants the evil the ability to vote as a block, which they don't have normally, because if the people will notice block voting and start to hone in on it. It just does so much for the evil team. Even if they start finding the evils, the organ grinder, one, can't be killed by them unless it feels like it. And two, you have to really get the entire town on board before you can start killing evils in an organ grinder game, because there's always going to be the evil block voting against you.
Interesting. Organ grinder's definitely powerful.
I'm always going with the organ grinder here. Now, marionette. Why do I like the marionette so much? The marionette allows me to get a player who's going to be socially good and who's going to be getting information from the storyteller that helps me win, that they are going to sell. Now, I'm not going to tell my marionette they're on my team, which does decrease the voting block advantages of the organ grinder just a little bit. But I don't really care, because their information is going to line up with the worlds I'm trying to sell. I trust the storyteller to do that for me. So I love having a marionette. I love having an organ grinder. I don't really care about a spy. I trust myself to be able to gain most of the spy's information by the end of day 2-ish on most games. Poisoner's fine, but a lot of the times Poisoner, it needs to hit the exact right player at the exact right time, or its power just fizzles. It can be really great, but there's nothing here I super think I'm gonna benefit from having a Poisoner on.
Flower Girl? Monk?
Flower Girl's gonna get messed up by the organ grinder. The organ grinder is like a permanent poison on the Flower Girl. Monk, whatever. If the monk protects someone, they protect someone. It's if they get a lucky shot on a Shugenja, Steward, or Seamstress, but I've already have a plan in my head for dealing with the Shugenja.
Interesting.
So I'm not really worried about, or Slayer, I guess, is the other one. That's nice to poison, but
even then, the difference is interesting, because I would look at Spy and Poisoner, because I would look at filling in where the Kazali is weak. Right, the Kazali's weakness is that it does all of its stuff up front, and then once it actually gets into the game, it doesn't have any disinformation, it doesn't have any survivability, it doesn't, kill a lot. It just is there. And so from my perspective, right, you might want to buff that up, right? The Spy allows you to kill the appropriate order of targets, or the most priority targets. The Spy plus the Poisoner allows you to manipulate information, and the Spy's inherent ability to register as a townsfolk can also manipulate information, as we saw in scenario 1.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying, on this script, I'd probably more likely choose Spy than Poisoner. Again, I don't see a lot of great poisoning targets.
Yeah.
But Spy might have some beneficials, but I don't need a Spy to, for example, manipulate the Shugenja information. I'm going to do that by myself, because I'm going to put my organ grinder over there in seat 6. And my marionette in seat 3. Let's
talk about picking where you're going to put your minions.
Yeah. So the Shugenja, I want the Shugenja to never be pointing directly at me as their near neighbor. Marionette always shields me from that, because I have to pick one of my neighbors. So if the Shugenja is counterclockwise from the marionette, they're going to ping off the marionette, not me, and the marionette's going to read socially good. Now, the organ grinder I could have put in seat 5 or seat 6. I could have given myself that full buffer of seat 5, but I don't really need to. Because even if the Shugenja happens to be in seat 5, by putting my organ grinder in seat 6, the storyteller is always going to point at the organ grinder's direction, and the organ grinder can always just be openly evil to draw the Shugenja's ire. I have successfully shielded myself from being pinged by a Shugenja by putting my marionette in 3 and my organ grinder in 6. I could have also done the reverse and put the organ grinder in 2, whereas the marionette's in 5. And I like the split of separating myself by the organ grinder from one seat, because that makes it a little less obvious that I've done organ grinder protection squad. I've done minion protection squad against the Shugenja. If I put them both next to me, like it just may be too memorable that you've done the purest form of Shugenja protection squad.
Yeah, I mean, you've really created a great shield here. Regardless of what 2 minions you get, this is a good alignment, right? Even if this was Spy and Poisoner, you
Right.
put the Spy next to you and then put the Poisoner in seat 6.
So what I think I've done by doing this, and I could be wrong, is I think I've successfully poisoned the Shugenja without having to put a poisoner in play, and the Shugenja was my number one poisoning target anyway.
Right,
like that was like the luckiest thing I could get it from a poisoner was the poisoner randomly hit the Shugenja points at a good player.
Yeah, so the further the Shugenja... Sorry, go ahead.
I've already successfully defended myself from the Shugenja just by putting my minions on the Grim the way I want to.
Right, so if the Shugenja's in seat 5, they're always getting clockwise, which is going to protect you. If the Shugenja, the further the Shugenja gets from you, the more likely their ability is going to point at players who are good as opposed to players who are evil, right?
Yep.
So, if the Shugenja's over in seat 10 or seat 11, as we saw in the previous scenario, they're going to be killing into 12, 1, and 2, or, in seat 10, they're going to be killing into 9, 8, and 7. They're not going to be reaching all the way across the Grim, looking at targets all the way across necessarily.
Exactly. And if my Marionette happens to be the Shugenja, great. They're definitely pointing counterclockwise.
Yeah, they're always pointing away from you, right?
And they'll be socially good while doing so. It's pretty great for me.
Yeah.
The Organ Grinder de facto poisons the Flower Girl, so I don't really have to worry about the Flower Girl anymore. The Flower Girl is not going to know when I vote, just how many times I vote. Now that might get a little scary if I'm on the block and the Flower Girl's still. If I'm worried I'm on the block and the Flower Girl's still alive, so I have to vote on literally everything.
Yeah.
To try to make sure I'm not on the block. But other than that, I should be pretty secure from a Flower Girl. I am worried about a Slayer, but I'm always worried about a Slayer. Slayer is one of those things. If they shoot you, it's probably going to be on day 1 or day 2, and you're probably not going to have a defense against it.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. There's no fallback position on this script for the evil team. There's no Scarlet Woman to catch. There's no Mastermind, no Evil Twin to...
Well, not that Mastermind helps you with a Slayer anyway.
No, Mastermind wouldn't help with a Slayer, but there's nothing here to help if the demon gets killed early, especially by a Slayer. So
now, yeah, no, this is, I think, a pretty healthy setup for me.
Yeah, this is a really strong way to use your minions as a shield to make sure that you're not getting impacted by the Shugenja.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I
don't really have much more to say about Shugenja strategy. After this night, it's basically the same things you always want as a demon. Look socially goodish. Kill the people town's not going to kill because they trust. Don't kill the people town might kill. That's demon strategy 101.
Standard stuff. We will say, I think, just because it was brought up in the release stream, just talking about the social aspect of playing the Kazali.
Absolutely. If there weren't characters on this script that cared about Grim positioning, specifically the Shugenja, the other characters are Clockmaker and Chef, at least of the ones we have released, that, and to a lesser degree, Empath, that really strongly care about where things are in the Grim. The way I would have assigned my minions would have been by rolling a dice. There's a temptation with the Kazali to, pick the quote-unquote all-star squad, the best friends club, whatever metric you're using for how you'd want it, where you can pick your 2 closest friends in the Grim, or the 2 players you think are the best evil players. And I don't know, maybe that works in some groups. I think in a lot of groups, if you think about your Kazali minion selection like that, it's going to lead more to hurt feelings and unfun games than to anything else.
Yeah, I think a great way to think about it is it's fun to play with new people. It's fun to be evil with different people and not always the same group of people. So, pick people who you haven't been evil with before. Pick people who, you don't know their play style as well. I think there's more interesting ways to make choices than just trying to pick people who are the most experienced or, your closest friends. You're going to still be friends with your closest friends later. You don't need to win a game of Clocktower with them. You probably have won plenty already anyway. And with that, Emma, I think we're gonna wrap up for this episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty short episode. Like I said, like the Kazali doesn't have much like additional night one strategic thoughts to think about that the imp doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to be a little safer in its bluffs because it doesn't have any fallback options. But this script, like, I'm mostly just worried about a flower girl pinging off me, and I think I've insulated myself from that.
All right, everybody. So have a great week, and as always, may your scenarios be grim.